Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I want to talk about the one thing that all narcissists want, the one thing that all narcissists crave. Well, we know narcissists crave attention. They always want to get a lot of attention. That's why when they're around other people, they may be bragging about how great they are or things they've done because they want to get the attention of people. But what do you think is the one thing that all narcissists want? Why they crave money, why they crave power, why they crave to be around people that are good looking. Narcissists want to be around people that are good looking, that make them look good. That's why a lot of narcissists pick younger supply. They want to be around people that have money. They want to be around people that praise them and flatter them. But why do they do all of these things? What is the end game of the narcissist? What does a narcissist want more than anything else? They want to feel important. They want to feel special. They want to feel significant. And I've mentioned this in my prior podcasts time and time again. In my older podcast, I talked about if you ever want to destroy a narcissist, you just make them feel insignificant. You just treat them like they don't even exist, okay? And that crushes the narcissist. That's why ignoring the narcissist is a great way to crush a narcissist. That's why giving them the silent treatment and not feeding them any kind of supply, not getting angry, not crying, not yelling and screaming, but rather to make them insignificant. Because a narcissist's ultimate goal and what all narcissists crave is to feel important. They want to feel important. They want to feel significant. They want to feel that you care. That's what a narcissist wants. They want to feel that you care or that other people care and that they are special. That's why they always have to put you down to lift themselves up, because they want to feel that they are this wonderful, wonderful person. You know, they want to feel that they matter. That's why when you walk away from a narcissist and you make them insignificant, I spoke about this in my older podcasts about the best way to crush a narcissist is to make them insignificant. Not get angry, not get mad, don't scream at them, don't even do any of that, because that just, that gives them attention. That shows you care. See, when you start yelling and screaming at a narcissist, automatically that says, I care, okay? But when you show them indifference, you're not fazed by them, that they don't matter, and I talked about in my older podcasts about, what kills a narcissist is to make them feel insignificant. So that's the way to do it, you guys, because narcissists they have you have to understand the mind of a narcissist. Narcissists have very low self-esteem, okay? For whatever reason, they are like they have a very fragile ego. That's why they're super, super sensitive, but they'll always call you sensitive. But they have very, very low self-esteem. Narcissists have low self-esteem, and they're going to try to make you feel like you have low self-esteem. This is what a lot of narc abuse survivors suffer with later on, is low self-esteem. Because what the narcissist does is they project all of their low self-esteem, all of their shame, all of their characteristics onto their victims. And that's why they put on the big front, the big facade. They try to feel important, okay? That's why a lot of them worry about how they look. They won't go out of the house unless they spend hours in front of the mirror, fixing their hair, fixing their clothes. They won't go out with one thing of lint on. I remember when I was dealing with my ex-narc, he used to wear hats and he'd be sitting there like scraping the top of the hat for any piece of lint, like paranoid that he should go out with a piece of lint on his hat, because they worry about their image. Why do they worry about their image? They worry about what people think about them, because they want people to look at them like they are important. They don't want to be looked at as insignificant. Like I mentioned time and time again in my old podcasts, narcissists hate to be, looked at as insignificant. So the one, the way to, deal with somebody like that is to, completely not feed their ego. Don't feed their ego. Although other people will feed the narcissist ego and make them feel important because they want something out of the narcissist. They may flatter the narcissist because they want the narcissist to do them a favor, or they may be in fear of the narcissist. But the one thing that all narcissists want to feel, okay, as I mentioned in my older podcasts, is they want to feel like they matter. They want to feel like they're significant. They want to feel important. That's why so many people and influencers will tell you that the best way to handle a narcissist is to completely ignore them, okay? And that usually will drive a narcissist crazy unless they don't really need you, okay? If a narcissist doesn't need you, they're going to be busy with other people. It's not going to affect them as much as if they were dealing with somebody who they really needed, okay? And what narcissists do in the beginning is they want to be significant to you in the very beginning, all right? That's why they come in as your hero. That's why they offer to do favors for you. They come in as your hero and they leave as your nightmare, as your monster, because it was never real. It was never authentic. The narcissist comes in and tries to fool you, and they want to be important. They want to be significant in your life because they want to be looked up as godly. A narcissist wants to be looked up. A lot of them think they're above God, okay? They think they're above God, or they want to be thought of as above God. And the hypocrisy in it all is that they go around and say that they're religious people, okay? This is the joke of it. They talk about, oh, I'm religious, I go to service every week or something like that. And yet they don't, they think of themselves above God because they don't want to think of anybody to be above them because, again, of that fragile ego. They want to be looked at as significant, as important, as they matter, okay? And this is the one thing that narcissists all want. And they will use, like I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, different vices to get to feel like that significant person, all right? So what they'll do is they may do favors for you. This is how the narcissist throws you off. The narcissist in the beginning, during the love bombing stage, may do really nice things for you, or they may even spend money on you, okay? Why do they do that? They want you to be indebted to them, number one, and number two, they want you to value them. Now they're offering you something. They want you to value them, but they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it as a form of manipulation so that you owe them and you need them and you're codependent on them. And, you want to make them important or significant, okay? Because they're tying themselves to money, or they're tying themselves to favors in order to make you look at them as a significant type of person, all right? This is another reason why narcissists love to drive fancy cars, live in big homes, have their kids go to the best colleges, because they want to look like they're a somebody, they're a something, they're significant. Narcissists equate significance with money, okay? The more money you have, the more significant they feel, okay? Or the more they would want to be around you. Narcissists want to be around the people with money. So, because they feel that they are the important people, they are the people that matter. This is where the narcissist puts their value. They put their value on idolatry, such things as money, material possessions, things of this world. All of these things God disdains because the narcissist doesn't put God above everything else. They put things of this world above everything else because the narcissist's primary goal, like I mentioned before, is to feel important, to have significance. This is what it is, okay? That's why narcissists never want you to ever talk about yourself or your own accomplishments, because it makes them insignificant, okay? Or they will throw you a backhanded compliment to break any significance of yourself, break your own self-worth, because they don't want you to be significant. They want to be significant. They want to be important. I talked about this time and time again, you guys. If you go back and listen to my older podcasts, I talked about, being significant is what the narcissist really, really wants. They want to be special. They want to be looked at on a pedestal. They don't want to be like every ordinary other person. That's why they don't like an ordinary life. That's why they need other things to make them feel important, significant. That's why they need multiple partners to make themselves feel significant, okay? Because these people give them validation, and that validation, what does that do? That makes them feel significant, makes them feel important. This is what the narcissist wants. This is what the narcissist craves. And I've talked about it in my older podcasts, all right? About, this is the one thing that narcissists can't stand, is to be made to feel insignificant, all right? So you don't have to go and seek revenge on a narcissist, when you're trying to give them back karma or let them, they will reap what they sow, because they burn bridges, and then people will render them insignificant anymore. They will no longer give them importance. This is why I tell you, when a narcissist hoovers you, don't respond. No response, because what you're going to do is that silence will render insignificance to the narcissist, more so than telling them, hey, get lost. Hey, stop texting me. Hey, why are you texting me? I don't want to hear from you. By you saying nothing renders the narcissist insignificant. What you're going to do is you're going to ice them out. That's what you do. You ice out the narcissist. You make them feel unimportant, because that is the one thing that all narcissists crave, is to feel like a big shot, to feel significant, to feel like they matter, to feel like they're special, to feel like they're better than the next guy or next girl. So you're gonna treat them like they don't even exist. They are like just a stranger on the street. That's how you're going to treat the narcissist, to not inflate their ego and give them that power. That's how you take the power right out of the narcissist, by rendering them insignificant. It's like I have people tell me all the time, well, the narcissist said this and the narcissist said that. And what is the first thing that I tell them? Look at where it's coming from, okay? Not today, Satan. We don't care what an insignificant narcissist has to say or comes out of their mouth, all right? Because anything a narcissist says doesn't mean shit, because they're a toxic person. So they have no validity. They have no, what's the word I'm looking for? In other words, it's not coming from a respectful person that what they say should matter, because they are insignificant. Look at where the narcissist is coming from, okay? Look at their situation in life. And a lot of times these people come from nothing, all right? In other words, they come from either bad backgrounds, or they're very insecure because of whatever their circumstances were. And they want to be rendered as significant, or they were never validated by mommy or daddy. So they don't feel important. So now they want to, torture everybody else and do mind games so that they could feel significant. And what you do is show them that they're nothing. That's what you do, okay? You show the narcissist that they don't matter, and that's how you destroy that narcissist. Because every single narcissist, whether it's covert, malignant, grandiose, overt narcissist, every single one of them wants to feel significant. So if you want to crush that narcissist, You ignore them and make them feel insignificant. You show them that they don't matter in your life. I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. If you're confused, you don't know if you're dealing with a narcissist, and you need clarity, you need to know how to handle this person, you need advice, check out that confidential link in the bio, askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. I have limited spots, you guys, because I'm working on another project. Also, check out my YouTube. It has over 6,000 videos. I have a lot of information on YouTube that could be useful to you. I talk about everything, the discard, triangulation, a lot with the covert narcissists because I know them so well, malignant narcissists, how to handle them as well. So check out the YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast on YouTube. Instagram is the Game EXP123, and TikTok is the Game Exposed. Facebook for right now is the Game EXP777. And have a great day, you guys.